recording, going live.
Monster Podcast.
And sounds like we're live.
We are live.
All right, excellent. Welcome, Talkness Monster Podcast with our special guest, Celeste McEntee.
Thanks, Casey. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, this is awesome. And we had we have a special helper too here today, Hannah. She came a little early and was giving her the rundown of the whole podcast before you got here. So the podcast started a little earlier for me than normal.
Perfect. I'm glad she came.
Yeah, so we're ready to have you. So this is cool. You got a lot of stuff going on.
I have too much going on right now. There is no question. But it's always fun. Lots of stuff.
Yeah. So I've got various things I'd like to talk about with you, but just a reminder, we don't have to talk about anything particular. Whatever comes up is cool with me.
I like it.
But I definitely wanted to talk a little bit about food and cooking. I mean, when I was writing like a little bio thing or whatever on Facebook, I'm like, so you're a cook? Like, is that accurate to say you're a cook? I don't know if that's accurate, but you do cook and you bake.
Cook. Yes, I do it all. And because we spent a lot of time with each other in my kitchen.
I've spent a lot of time in your kitchen, and I have tried a lot of things that I just can't even put into words. Like, you are so talented when it comes to the spoon and the fork and the whisk. I don't know.
Thanks, Casey. It's been fun. What's your favorite thing that you've had in my kitchen?
The favorite thing, I used a stroganoff in the little clip I put on, and the stroganoff was amazing.
That's always a good one.
A lot of the things in your kitchen, some of them were your guests, though. So I was trying to so what did you make and your guest didn't make? And this pudding thing, I found this pudding thing you made, which was this tapioca layered thing, which was amazing.
The trifle.
And then your banana bread. You definitely take it to another level, too, when you make your recipes. The banana bread it was just so good. And it's like, banana bread's usually pretty good. I like banana bread, but it was just like so much better than I usually have it. So I don't know.
It's the crumble.
Is it the crumble?
It's the crumble. You got to just give it a little top notch, add to the main ingredients and just kind of top it off. So.
Oh, here we go. I got you live here. I'm trying to share you. I'm going to share you. And we got a few people watching.
Hi,
we
guys.
We just started.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Wyatt are you watching? Oh, that's the name. I thought they were saying Wyatt. That's Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Wyatt.
That's funny.
So you started cooking. I don't know. I mean, so your mother was really involved in that. Like, is it just like a mother-daughter thing that you started with your?
It really is. My mom is a wonderful cook. She raised 4 kids. I'm the third of 4. And when I was as early as 3 years old, she bought me my first easy bake oven. And that's where it all began. Honestly, I made my first white cake with white frosting right there in our kitchen at 3 years old. And I remember it. So that's always been a really fond memory for me. And my mom used to have tea parties, if you can believe it. And she'd invite the neighborhood kids, and she would make the chicken and broccoli casserole. I think you've had that.
The chicken and broccoli casserole
casserole.
Okay, that's another one that you made, not a guest.
That's right. And it sounds, like pretty simple, and it is, but it's got curry powder in there, and it's a nice, rounds all those flavors off. But anyways, that's where it started, and those are 2 of my very first memories of cooking and baking in the kitchen.
Yeah, you also had this cilantro cream sauce. And
goes with everything.
I gave that recipe to somebody one of our marketing people that moved on to be a dog trainer. But she made this. I think she wanted the recipe, and she made it, and she thought it was amazing. And,
cool.
And it really is an amazing recipe. Like, I don't know. I saw this article. I used to read all these articles from Dig, and then I'm like, oh, these guys are a little too liberal for me now. I can't handle it. But they're fine. I just, I could get all wound up sometimes. But they're like, millennials are all about sauces. And
They are.
These are really cool, trendy articles. And it's like, oh, this is a good one. Because I'm a millennial. I'm like an old
That's right.
millennial. And I'm like, I do love sauces. And this must be true. And your cilantro cream sauce is like, I mean, I love cilantro and I love cheese and sour cream and all that stuff that's in there. I think there's cheese in there. Is there? No, there's sour cream,
no
cilantro.
cheese. Jalapeno. Vinegar, salt, pepper, garlic.
And you make it
all the great things to go into a sauce.
in the Vitamix.
In the Vitamix, which you're the pro. You've taught me a bunch about the Vitamix, and we've just had a lot of fun together in my kitchen. So this is really cool to be here with you. And I don't know. I just, if we want to share that recipe again, we can do that too. So,
well, I've been getting a whole lot better with social media. It's been challenging because with TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts and all that. As a videographer, it's like I want my beautiful images to look good and big and glamorous, and I don't want to dirty them up with a bunch of text all over it and too fast of cuts, And that's exactly what I've been getting good at lately, is doing all that kind of stuff because that's what people want to see.
Yes.
And but yeah, like with a lot of the stuff that we've made, I made that little clip and I was like, oh, this is really good on here. Like with the phone shape, the aspect ratio. I don't know if you saw that that I posted just briefly a little bit ago.
No.
So it was just like I do it right before we go live.
Is it going to be on there when I
No,
get
it's
off?
on Instagram. It's going to be on there.
Okay, I'm going to check it out.
It's a reel, but like I'm just like, hey, Celeste is going to be on. But then it's like, my stroganoff is not just any stroganoff, and then there's like a shot of your stroganoff,
cool,
and then a couple
Casey.
shots of your pudding, and then
gosh.
Dylan, he's like eating the banana bread. And he's like, oh,
I remember that. That was a great day. That was fun. That was when you first got to see his personality. And now
he's a kooky
you're just
kooky
part
guy.
of the family.
I like that guy.
Yes, I'll have to check it out. So
what did you already eat dinner today? Or are you going to eat dinner after? Or this is going to mess up your dinner time?
Dylan actually Traegered some chicken on the barbecue. Or actually, he Traegered it, then he put on the barbecue. And so they're probably enjoying that right now.
I just acquired a Traeger.
You did?
Yeah, I'm like officially...
Who gave that to you?
No, my girlfriend and I bought it from a buddy moving to Alaska.
Well, that was a good purchase.
It was
You're going to love it.
It was super cheap. It was like I don't know, $250 or something.
Have you tried it yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'd used it with him tons of times.
Okay,
that
so
was
you
her
kind of know
roommate.
what you like, and maybe you'll try some new things.
Traegered everything, pizzas.
Okay, I haven't done that yet.
Cookies, all like not me. I'd never done that personally, but they'd done it, and
Cool.
but obviously chicken, and I don't know steak. I'm not really a huge steak guy. If it's really well made, it's good, but
right.
you gotta. Because it doesn't cook the middle the same way, so they have to sear it on the stovetop.
See, there's some steps to it, so I haven't figured it out myself. But you're on.
I'm aware of it. I've never done it. I mean, I just kind of do like chicken and pork. That's kind of my thing.
Well, we could try the steak.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe that could be our next.
I mean, if you got, I'm sure
cooking.
If you made steak, it'd be like the dankest steak.
I think I make a pretty good steak, but I do. Again, I think it's all in the seasonings and the way you cook it. So maybe we should try those Traegers out.
Yeah, we haven't done any kind of Traeger with you.
That's true. I think we talked about having a kind of a cook-off with the fishermen down on the the terminal.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that would be a perfect thing to do. Take some Traegers, some barbecues down, and get it going.
And in case anybody isn't aware, so Celeste and I, we work together and have been producing some video series of her cooking some recipes and having guests. And we haven't fully published all of it, but so we're referencing some of that. We've done a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one thing when you're on the podcast, you have to think like, whoa, does anybody know what we're talking about?
What do these people know? We're going to catch them up.
We'll catch you up.
Yeah, I actually don't know what a Traeger is.
Really?
Is that what it's called? A Traeger?
A Traeger.
Okay.
Hey, let's try it. Let's look it up.
Okay, yeah. I'll check it. I'll get it up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hannah's gonna look it up. It's
I
gonna
like
be her first time
we'll
looking
invite
up,
her over.
looking a thing up, and then putting it. And then
Yeah, if you guys cook me food, I'll love you forever.
Well, I mean, she works in the restaurant industry too, so she's well versed in food, and her parents are very talented, and so is she. So, I think we could have a lot of fun.
Yeah, actually,
Maybe she could be one of our guests on my in my kitchen next time.
Yeah, you can have it.
Okay.
You had Leighton Blackwell on there.
Leighton
and
is
that was
awesome.
a cool one.
That was one of my favorites. They've all been so great. But Leighton is working on a few other cool things for me right now. So we've kind of talked about getting back in the kitchen and cooking something up.
Yeah, Leighton came in and cooked some ramen, some like kind of fancy Japanese ramen with
Fresh rockfish.
Oh yeah, yeah. He does go fishing for it. I think he spears fishes.
He spears fishes.
Yeah.
It. Yes.
But that one wasn't from. That was from the Bayfront, I think.
That was from the Bayfront. I think he got that off the boat. So that was cool.
Yeah, that was a really fun one. But you've had all kinds of people on, like Katie Wiley. You had Amanda Henneman, a nice lady who's pretty famous with icing cookies.
That's right. Yes. She came from Utah. And that was really fun, wasn't it?
She was
We learned
cool.
a lot of technique.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good for my buttercream frosting on my sugar cookie, which I send out every year for Valentine's to friends and family all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's, one of its own kind of sugar cookies, but she actually frosts them not with a royal. It's kind of I'm going to mess this up, Amanda, but it's a royal icing, but it actually tastes really good.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of switches it up and decorates like they're unreal. So it was fun having her in my kitchen.
Yeah, and a hummingbird got stuck inside the house. That was really fun.
That was fun. Yeah, you got us chasing the hummingbird, and she fed it out of her palm of her hand some water just to kind of help it on its way. And
well, yeah, because it got so
sugar
tired
water.
trying to escape that you guys were able to catch it. And then it was doing its little tongue thing.
That was cool, right?
And then you guys released it.
That was
yeah,
really
they're
neat.
so tiny, and once you catch them, they just kind of go limp. They're like,
It
you
did.
got me. You know?
It was kind of interesting, but she knew what to do, so that was really cool. That was fun. Last year I had a really great opportunity in July. It's been a year. I went to France with the food nanny.
Oh my gosh, tell us about
And
the
that
food nanny. I totally
was-
forgot about that. Like,
The food nanny, my friend Lizzie and her mom Liz, they live in Utah, and I just had this great opportunity to go to France, and I jumped on it, and it was one of the highlights of my life from an aspect of traveling and cook, just food. And I got to go to Julia Child's Copper Store in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a highlight.
tell us about this copper store. What is this copper store?
Oh my gosh. Every single kind of copper pot and bowl and pan, anything, utensils were all there. So
I'm really
we
getting
spent
into
hours
utensils.
there. Well, we'll have to talk about that a little bit more, but just fun. And then we went out to the coast and we went to the Guérande and we went to the salt farm. And it was
Oh.
really, really neat. The French gray salt. And now it's all I cook with and it's all I bake with. And bringing up the food nanny, I've switched my flour over to Kamut flour.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for
Do you grind it yourself now?
Well, I did the wheat, but I use the white and I just buy it in the bag. So it's just much easier. I don't have any, it just doesn't take any work. Pull open the bag,
for
pour it
sure.
in my big
Yeah.
bucket, and I'm ready to go. And I've switched over to just using that flour, and it's made all the difference in the world for everything that I've baked and made for the family and friends. It's just it's a very, very great ingredient to add to anything. And it's just awesome. So,
I want to start grinding my own more.
okay. You can
Just-
borrow my mill if you don't have one.
No, I've got the attachment for the
Oh,
Vitamix.
of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course, the Vitamix. Of course you
I
do.
grind my own grain.
I
I
love
bought
it.
the stupid thing, so I better
Use
use
it.
it. I mean, the thing is the store is really good. I don't use flour that much.
It does store really
and
well.
I'm definitely like, oh, the world's ending, economic collapse, nobody can get wheat. Like, I should buy a bunch of whole wheat berries or
You
kamut
should.
or whatever.
The Kamut
And-
berries are great
yeah.
for that.
And then just you can
millet.
store it and grind it up when you need it. And so I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
prepare, like that's a great, as long as we have electricity, the Vitamix is really good for preppers.
That's true.
think,
Are you prepping?
A little bit.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
may as well be prepared, honestly. It doesn't even matter what's going on.
Yeah.
It's great to be prepared.
Yeah, I'm definitely like every day I'm like looking at like what like the markets are doing or listening to people talk about the markets and all that, And,
Good.
And then food for sure.
You're paying attention.
Food, yeah, pay attention.
Pay attention.
And then, the more I watch it, the more I find that it's just like there's lots of people talking about it, but things aren't necessarily always happening. It's just kind of slow But back to food though. Like, yeah, I got like a bunch of tuna and a bunch of, stuff that I got at the, I'm like big on the grocery outlet, so I can get these little packets of flavored tuna for ridiculously cheap sometimes. Like, and I'm just stocking up.
That's good.
I'm gonna lose my mind because of the mercury, but I'll live longer.
Well, it's better than I think a quarter ton of frozen clams in the freezer for your food storage.
Is that what you got?
If anything were to happen, we've got clams on hand.
I'll
I'll share.
That's like a really like lean, healthy meat.
Do you think you'd get tired of it though?
I
Day
mean,
after day?
If you cooked it, I'm sure it'd be fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I better try some other recipes besides.
I
chowder is always good, but I don't know if I could eat it every day.
If shit hits the fan, I might need to camp in your backyard.
Okay.
And,
We have a generator.
We're good for like 2 hours.
That's right. But you may as well join what's going on at our house. We've got all the kids home working, and the house is crazy right now. You've been there. We've got all the dogs, the kids, and they're grown children. We're not talking about young ones, so they're all adults. But they're all willing to work, and it's helped us out. So.
You got awesome kids.
They're great.
It's fun hanging out with them. I really like
You've
Carter.
seen it all.
I really like Carter. I think he's a cool dude.
Yeah,
I feel
he
like
likes you too.
If Carter and I went to school together, we'd probably
You
be
would have
buddies.
been totally. Well, he just went surfing the other day.
He did?
Yeah, he just went back out to Otter Rock, and I was thinking about it on my drive over here that you guys should get it together and spend a morning surfing.
Yeah, I'd love to go surfing.
He'd love it too.
Went surfing last night. It's such a good exercise.
It is. And it's good to get your mind just to kind of unwind, relax, gives you great balance.
Yeah. And my boss, Jeremy, needs to get out there because with the high pressure and the stress of the job, with him being in charge and, things not always going the way they would be easiest.
That's a good reset. Jeremy, are you listening?
No, he probably
He
isn't.
has been playing pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
On Wednesday
okay,
nights.
now that's actually a thing then. He's
Yeah.
been playing pickleball.
Yep.
Wednesday night?
We've been playing. He and his wife and Jeremy and my girls and Kathy. Kathy got the whole thing started. You guys should join us.
That's
It's
awesome.
been fun.
That's awesome. Wednesdays?
Wednesdays.
Maybe.
Well,
I'll come out.
yeah.
Play some pickleball.
I've got a few extra paddles for you.
Okay, I could try that.
It's fun.
I used to see people play pickleball at the YMCA in Roseburg because I used to go
okay.
there, and there's a really big Y. I think it's a good one.
Oh, it's fun.
But they had these whole rooms with glass. Like you could.
Kind of like a racquetball court.
Yeah.
But
Okay. No, I'm thinking a racquetball.
Okay. Well, sure. It's similar to racquetball.
It's not the same thing.
It's kind of a cross between tennis and racquetball.
Okay.
So.
I don't even know how that works then.
Well, I think you'd catch on really quick.
So 4th of July just happened. What did you make for 4th of July?
What I made was a cherry blueberry cobbler in a skillet. Let's see what else I did. Well, Dylan triggered some other meat that night. We had salmon, fresh salmon, and I made a trifle. I always make the trifle. It's got fresh tapioca pudding that I make, and it's not instant tapioca, so you got to let the.
That's not the layered thing, is it?
Yes.
I just posted that.
Yes.
That was one of the things. It's
I
funny because
did.
you just made that.
It's perfect, red, white, and blue. So I let the pearls sit, and they soak up all the water, and then it's cooks on slow in one of my pans, and then I make homemade whipped cream and homemade pound cake. And then you can pick any kind of berry, but we did raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. So those, and I just kind of kept it simple this year. Actually, I was going to bring you some of my little gummies, but I bought little army guys that were green.
Oh, man.
Gummies.
Yeah.
And then I had red, white, and blue candy, and I did a whole board. It was really cute.
You were like the like during the pandemic, the charcuterie board became.
Yes.
I didn't even know what a
The
charcuterie board was.
charcuterie boards.
It became the thing, and I think it's still still life in the charcuterie board now. But you're like the queen of charcuterie boards. I've seen the most biggest extravagant charcuterie boards, and it's not like
true.
it's just like the way it's presented. You actually make all of this different, like
I do.
Thanksgiving, and what was Thanksgiving there? No, I'm
Oh,
thinking
we had
Halloween.
some-
Halloween. I can remember more of the Halloween.
Oh, the
stuff.
Halloween was great. Like
The little-
skulls
yeah,
and
yeah.
bones and all kinds of things. But even Thanksgiving, I have the turkeys and the pumpkins, and yeah, it's all fun. And I've had my first charcuterie board I bought down in the Napa Valley in 2006.
Really?
And I've been using it ever since. And I've just added to my collection because obviously You can never have enough charcuterie boards.
Yeah, you aren't you making some?
I did make some
boards now?
charcuterie boards. Yes. I bought a bunch of walnut
Yeah.
and a
yeah,
bunch of maple.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law is a very skilled, talented woodworker. And so for my birthday this year, he asked me what I wanted. And I said, I really would love to spend some time with you in your shop. And I'd love to make some charcuterie boards. So we made a few together, and we've got some more in the works.
Oh man, I don't do any of that myself, but I really loved eating off of that charcuterie boards.
It's fun. It does. It kind of changes it up a little bit.
I mean, making it look nice is always cool with the cool part of the meal, but I guess I do flavor first. That's just me, but sometimes I don't even get that right. But
It's got to be good. Like, you can't just have it look good, right? It's got to be the whole thing.
yeah.
So
Yeah, well, which is what you do. So your cobbler, like, can you kind of tell us how you made your cobbler?
Yeah,
Is there
I
like
sure
a
can.
secret in there?
No, not really, except that you've got to put the cube of butter in the skillet, turn the oven on to 350, and then put the butter in the skillet in the oven to melt.
Oh, okay. In the okay.
And then you mix flour, sugar, baking powder, and milk. Just whip it together and pour it on top of the hot butter. And you don't incorporate the butter. You just pour the batter on top. And then I cut fresh cherries from the Tri-Cities area I got that day.
yeah.
And then fresh blueberries, threw them on, a little bit of brown sugar and cinnamon, and just throw it in and bake it for a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to say my son's friends were there and said it was a hit. And I was like, really? It's simple. But I think we found a new recipe that will stay.
Is that normal to put melt the butter in first? Like, I've never heard of that. See, I'm looking at this. I'm like, how do you get it so good? Like,
I know.
You just think of butter
I think
in there
that's the
ahead
trick.
of time,
So
know?
I'm letting it out. I think that's the trick.
And you're not like, I mean, some people want to skimp on some of the ingredients to make it healthier, which I think in some cases is probably appropriate. But like something like a dessert, it's like, I might as well just eat broccoli or something else. I mean, just broccoli.
Right.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but
if you're going to do dessert, do it right.
Yeah.
And I would way rather eat it with the ingredients that I use out of my kitchen than going to the store and buying a bag of cookies or a baked cobbler there. Not to say that those things may not have their purpose, but not in my kitchen. I think that's the thing is I just don't use bagged or boxed things in my kitchen.
Yeah, and you have like one of the, it's like a dream kitchen, I think, for many. Like, can you describe it? It's like I'm a big fan of islands, but you have like an island inside of an island.
I do. It's the middle island is like I think 6 by 10, and it's a wood. It's got the wood block and it's got a sink in there and a dishwasher. And then on my outside island kind of goes around that. I don't know, like a half circle or horseshoe shape or some.
Yeah.
And it seats 10 bar stools and it's got another sink in it. So there's a lot of room to move around. And I think it just makes a kitchen very functional. And I don't have dirty dishes very often because of the 2 dishwashers and 2 sinks.
Oh yeah, 2 dishwashers. That's
So-
you do. Yeah.
I cook enough and I have enough people over. We entertain a lot. So I think for me, that's just really great. You can just clean up quickly and be done. And the kitchen's tidy.
Now you also have like a really awesome gas stove. Now, I know you're having issues with that. Were they still any luck?
It's my 3rd one in 9 years since we built the home.
Wow, so that's something going on with
Something
that.
going on.
Are you thinking of switching brands? What is the old one? What kind is it?
It's a Fischl pickle. I
Pike-
think I say that right. Fischl pickle or pickle, but DCS. It's easier to say DCS. And I love the configuration on top because it's got the 5 burners and the large griddle.
Yeah.
24-inch.
Yeah.
So this is my last time I'm going to have it. I'm waiting for my new one, but it's going to be about 6 or 8 months to get it. So I'm just going to have to put up with it for a while.
You got kind of figured out though for now?
I think so, but there's times where I'll bake cookies or a cake and it's like, oh, boy. But I just have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. It reminds me just to be flexible and not to try to be such a perfectionist.
So, how do you pick out a meal before, when you're entertaining or your family? Like, I know you have some staples for your family,
That's a good question.
like that chicken, what were we talking about, that chicken one?
Chicken and broccoli.
Chicken and broccoli. Oh,
So
easy.
chicken and broccoli is always easy. Caprice, my 3rd child, you know her as well. She always has had that meal every single birthday. So I know what I'm cooking October 1st every year. But usually I like to use ingredients that are fresh to our area. And you know, like if there's a good fish, something that's coming off the hook or in off the boats, you know, I'm always like checking it out and what's out there. When the squid was coming in, we went down and got squid. And when the spot prawns were there, we went and got spot prawns. So Asia Burke always hooks us up and she gives us a little call and we head down there and grab that. But as far as anything that's like a steak or a meat or anything like that, I usually ask my kids what sounds good to them. If I'm doing a big group, I guess that kind of tends to give me some ideas of what I could put together pretty quick and easy. My pork verde is probably my go-to meal if I have a bunch of people over. And that's with my cilantro cream sauce.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because we filmed both of them that same day. And
yes.
They're both delicious.
They're so good. And you know what? It's just easy. People can have it over cabbage. They can have it with the tortilla, sauce, no sauce. But you know me, every single person that tries a pork verde, I make them try the sauce. You just have to try it. And I don't know anyone that has tried my pork verde that doesn't love the cilantro cream sauce. So.
Do you do any like canning at all or anything like that?
I do.
My girlfriend and I want to get this is like the first year. This is kind of going along with the prepping thing.
Oh,
though.
yeah. I like where we're going.
Grow in the garden and want to can everything. You know,
that's
like
cool.
She's reading a book and she's taking a class.
Wow.
Or something like that. I mean, she's
Good
kind of
for
in
her.
charge of that. But the garden's at her house because my house is garden ain't happening there.
What are you growing though?
Oh well, there's peppers, there's carrots, onions. Tomatoes, squash. There's probably some zucchini. I think there's at least one or two zucchini. You know how big they get.
They do.
You don't need many.
You need like one.
And then,
or you better have some good friends.
Cucumbers. Lots of the.
Oh, you could do pickles or
yeah.
cucumber slices or whatever.
Well, you know the thing is. Oh, and the other thing, they've got chicken, so we've been pickling eggs. Do you have a pickling egg recipe?
I've never done that.
Okay, guys.
Okay. You guys might have to show me.
Well, she just did radishes. I hate radishes, but she I don't know if you canned them or not. Maybe pickled them in a brine or something, but they were really good.
Oh my gosh, cool, you guys. Yeah, I mean, I think you came over and filmed when Katie and I did spicy carrots, the beans,
so good,
asparagus, and then I did kind of the red onions and the vinegar.
Yeah,
for tacos and. You know,
that was dank.
Like enchiladas and stuff. That was good.
That was so dank.
Those are kind of the things I stick to, and I like to do peaches and pears for sure because who doesn't love that? But if you did tomatoes, you could do sauces, any kind of Italian sauce, and you could also do salsas.
Oh, we could can the sauce.
Yes, you can can your sauce, so you can make spaghetti, lasagna, anything.
So
tomato soup.
She's really worried about the pH of it and everything. Is that something that you have to pay that close attention to?
I mean, you do.
Okay.
But there's enough recipes out there that you can.
You just follow the recipe and then you're kind of fine.
Did you buy a canner, or are you just doing it over the stovetop, or what do you have?
Well, from my understanding, there was a difference between canning meat and canning vegetables.
Okay.
And I think the canner, I don't know, is there what's a canner?
It's like a pressure cooker that you'll put on your stove, or there could be an electric one.
I'm not sure.
Well, we'll have to get together. I'd like to learn from her some of her things that she's learning in the classes and her reading, because I need to actually do a little bit more of that myself.
Yeah.
But I kind of pick a recipe out and then just try it. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then I've wasted a lot of food. So it's a good to figure it out before you get to that point.
Yeah, wasted a lot of food. Because you make big batches, you know.
Exactly.
But
Katie and I had fun that day. I think 50 pounds of carrots we did that day. So that was fun.
You guys did? You guys were there for like all day?
All day.
But
this is a great time to be thinking about those things you're going to put away and can, and you may need them. Yeah,
I'm totally getting into the prepper mindset. I'm like, okay, well, if for some reason we didn't have access to food, I don't want to be, high and dry.
You don't want to be eating that tuna every day.
That's my survival.
You want to be
food.
able to spread that out a little bit and have a variety.
I've got tuna. I've got rice. I've got ramen. like the crappy kind.
Well, hey, it
I
might
miss, like,
taste
survival.
really good if you you don't have many options to choose from.
Yeah, I remember listening to this interview of it was a Holocaust survivor, and they had gone back to one of the camps, the concentration camps, and they were like, "Oh, there's grass. If there was grass, then we would have eaten it." And and that always kind of like stuck with me. Like if you're really
Wow.
hungry, I mean,
That looks really
like,
good.
yeah, grass. It's like we would have eaten it, but there wasn't grass then. It was probably all mud. And so, like, yeah, I mean, I'm taking it pretty seriously. I mean, if I could eat well, when we need to eat because we can't get food at the store, then I'd like to eat well. So
I agree with you, and I mean, in all seriousness, we should be prepared. It's way better to be prepared than trying to scramble and try to figure things out, and then have our options very limited.
remember 2020 when all the toilet paper went away?
Sure do.
And all
Sure
the
do.
ramen noodles and the beans.
Hey, even this past year, one of the girls went to the store for me, and I think I was trying to make Oreo, I don't know, a cake or Reese's peanut butter or something, but they came home, the two girls, and they said there was one bag of M&Ms on the candy shelf at Fred Meyer. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It was just like a week period where they didn't get their shipment in, and it was down to one bag of M&Ms. And I said, no, come on. True. They took a photo and showed me, and I was pretty amazed. I mean, we're living in the 21st century.
Yeah. Did you guys buy it?
I can't remember.
I would have bought it.
I would have bought it. Probably wouldn't have made it home. But, anyways, I mean, toilet paper, paper towels.
You know what we can't get right now, which I think almost everybody loves,
What?
is sriracha.
We can't get it.
Like, as soon as I heard you couldn't get it, it was too late.
It was.
I couldn't find it. The
Shoot.
natural, not the natural food, but the Asian market, Freddy's. No, I haven't seen it anywhere.
It's gone.
But I have like half a bottle in my cupboard.
Uh-oh.
I'll sell it.
You better
I was
protect
going to
that.
say, you better protect it. You may
With your
make
life.
a lot of money.
Highest bidder.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that's a good idea to be prepared. That doesn't mean you're, there's sort of this idea that like preppers are kind of strange, but
Well, I think
I think being prepared is ideal.
Do you have you ever made a hot sauce before?
No, I've canned salsa,
Oh,
but that's it.
I've never made a hot sauce.
Are you thinking about it?
I just love a hot sauce. I'm a hot sauce
Okay.
fiend.
I've got a good one for you then.
Oh, really?
I have a good one.
What is it?
Well, I don't know the name of it, but we just
You know
started
what's in it?
carrying it at Moes.
Oh,
And I'm
Moes,
going to
yeah.
get you a bottle.
Oh, okay.
It's a good one. It's a green salsa.
Oh, okay.
Or not a salsa, a green hot sauce.
I love green. I was just using the green Tabasco. I went
that's
to
good.
Timbers in Toledo for the first time. I've been living in Toledo for
Cool.
6 years, and I'm like, I haven't gone out to the bars.
Oh,
in
cool.
Toledo, and I didn't go out to the bar. It was breakfast.
I bet it was good.
Actually, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
It was like normal prices.
it was good.
They're either just eating it or they're getting their food on cheap because
Define normal.
I know what's normal.
Yeah.
I think I paid $10 for
Oh,
like
that's
an
good.
omelet or something.
Oh, that's good.
It was like something that you would have paid like 6 or 7 years ago,
Keep going.
and maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. I'm not so good with the remembering of the numbers, but it seemed pretty low. Like I was like, wow, they must not be paying a lot for their ingredients. I'm guessing.
I wonder, unless
Like,
they're just pumping it out of the
how could
kitchen.
they be so cheap?
I know. My one of my contractors. I'm building some townhouses right now, and my builder showed up at my house this morning to work on a project at my house, and he said, "Where's the bacon and eggs?"
Uh-huh.
And I thought, I haven't cooked breakfast in a week. Now, for me, that's kind of strange. I cook breakfast. I love it.
Yeah.
So you can come to my house any day, and I usually do have breakfast.
I
think that's cheap.
I would eat your
I'd probably
breakfast.
charge $15 for an omelet.
I would think so.
With the
See, I think that's
potatoes and
pretty.
the-
I think that's a lot more normal.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
breakfast is tough. It's, it's labor intensive, and you really can't
You gotta
charge
make it
a
fresh.
lot. And you have to make it fresh because, I mean,
You can't-
it's the quality.
Toast can't be made not fresh.
That's true.
I mean, you have to put it in.
And eggs are
Toasted.
not good when you warm them up,
Oh yeah.
so. Well,
So,
that's cool.
Speaking of Moes, so I wanted to ask you, so like, how'd you meet Dylan and like end up in the Moes family, right? You're in the Moes family.
This is an interesting question. And actually, me sitting in front of a microphone, knowing my family's background, my father owned Kissin Radio in Salt Lake City, 97.1, for many years and sold it in the late 80s. And my mom was in marketing and advertising and radio. She still is today, almost 78 years old. My brother runs, I think, 10 or 11 radio stations. So they're very comfortable with this microphone. It's not my most comfortable place to sit, but I do have the family background. And my parents moved here my senior year of high school. My dad sold the company and he needed to work for a radio programming company on the West Coast anywhere. And his family used to own Kite Radio here in Newport.
Oh, really?
So they moved here because it was kind of a reference point for him. And he knew there was a high school here for me and my younger brother who was in 7th grade at the time. So anyways, we moved here and I met Dylan. We moved here October 1st. So we were a month late into starting school. So that was a little overwhelming as well. I came from a high school in Salt Lake City with 1,200 people in my class to a school here with 100, maybe 120 in my class. By noon, everyone knew who I was, and that was a new experience for me. But I met Dylan, and we dated towards the end of our senior year. And then I went off to school in Provo, Utah, and he went to school in the Valley here for our first year of college, and we dated long distance for an entire year. And after our first year of college, I moved back and worked for Moes. And his grandfather, which is Mo's husband, his name is Dutch Nemi. Oh. He was a fisherman, and he lived above the Rogue building. The McEntee family built the Rogue building in 1986 before Jack Joyce came and opened up Rogue in 1988.
Oh, I didn't know the
Yes.
Mo family built that building, the one on the
Yes.
bayfront.
And so
Wow.
Mo and Dutch lived above the Rogue building on the east side, and Dylan's grandparents, the McEntees, lived on the west side, and then the middle one they rented out. So I got to live with him for the summer. Mo had passed away a year before, and so that was a really cool experience for me. He was just so generous to let me live there while I was working, and that summer we continued to work. He worked at Mo's. I waited tables. He cooked in the kitchen, and we went off to school the next year and got married halfway through that year. And we finished the school year here, and then we moved to Utah and went to school at University of Utah. I could get us both in-state tuition, but he couldn't get me in-state here. So we made the financial decision that was the most beneficial.
Yeah.
So we went there and lived almost 7 years and had our first 3 kids in Salt Lake City. Both got our undergrads and graduate degrees there. And we moved back here in May of 2000. So 22 years we've been here.
Wow.
And we had our 4th child here, Mackenzie, and this is our home.
Yeah. So, and then you had a little store at Nye Beach, right?
I did.
What kind of store was it? It was a
gourmet market.
Okay.
It was a gourmet market. I had a little kind of espresso coffee bar up front. It's now Nye Beach Cafe. So I opened it in 2006. We built the building down there where Sorella's at. Nye Beach Cafe is in the middle. At the time, it was a really pretty Native American art gallery down on the other corner. And then we lived above. There were 5 condos that we built. So 5 condos, 3 commercial spaces. We built that in 2006. I thought it would be great to have kind of a flagship store in the middle. And I owned it for 4 years and then sold it to Judy Butchko, who now owns it and operates Nye Beach Cafe. But at the time, I did espresso, coffee. I had over 80 select cheese options in my case, and I had specialty sandwiches, and I made charcuterie trays for people they could come up and get. And I always baked a different cupcake and cookie every day and had it sitting on my counter. But that was a really, really great time for me. I even entered Cupcake Wars. Remember when Cupcake Wars was a thing on either TLC or Food Network?
I think I heard of that.
I kind of remember. Do you
remember.
remember this, Hannah?
Yeah,
Hannah grew
I
up with
remember.
my son, Carter. So
Yeah.
I had the kids down for field trips. And I remember even when it was really sunny, I'd pull out these big tables and the kids would come down. I'd wrap it in craft paper and they would decorate cookies and cupcakes. And we just had a great time. I mean, it was a little ahead of its time, I think. I was inspired by my favorite grocery store, Dean and DeLuca. And it was in New York, down in the Soho district. And I traveled there. I traveled in the Napa Valley, kind of getting some inspiration and brought it back. It was very French. It's got the yellows and the chocolate browns and a big counter, which is still there today. But that was just a fun time. I owned that for almost 4 years, sold at the end of 2010. And I do miss having the interaction with people that would come in off the street, locals, tourists. But it was, it was a great little chapter in my life. And my kids learned to work really hard down there. They worked, like Mackenzie was in kindergarten at the time, and she would come down and do dishes. Kennedy and Carter, and you know this about Carter because he's baked his cookies for you.
Okay, you got to tell us the cookie story.
But Carter and Kennedy, my two oldest, would come in the market after hours or, at the end of the school day, and they'd come down and they'd make panini sandwiches and smoothies, and they'd bring their friends. But Carter and Kennedy decided they were going to make cookies and sell them at school. Kennedy was in 6th grade. Carter was in 8th. And Carter made his chocolate chip cookies. Kennedy made Kenny Lou's sugar cookies and Crazy Carter's chocolate chip cookies. They made a little logo, stickers, and they would cook them or bake them at night, and then they would take them the next day to school and sell them. And they were doing pretty good. I think he said $45 or $50 a day. Hannah, did you ever buy a cookie from them?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can't really recall, but
well,
that's pretty adorable.
It is pretty cute, right?
Yeah.
But
I wish I would have paid more attention to that.
I know. Well, they were doing it out of their lockers, a little discreet.
Right. It's a little sketchy.
But some of the teachers and staff were buying the cookies.
Oh, okay.
Pretty soon I get a phone call from the principal, Miley's Tolan. And she said they can no longer do this. That Sodexo, the school lunch people, were complaining that Carter and Kennedy McEntee were competing. So they shut them down. But that was a really fun story. And it's, how many years has that gone on? But even Carter got to do that 1.5 years ago in my kitchen. And you filmed him. And I think it was in the newspaper and the Oregon Coast magazine.
Yeah.
Oregon Coast Waves.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's one of those great experiences that he had and a fun memory.
Oh, and those cookies are really good. It's just
right?
Another thing is just there's something you do that makes it just a little better than
There's
just like any normal cookie.
It's love. It's love. And you know what he says every single time? Mom, it's your recipe. And I'm like, no, it is my recipe. But I'm telling you what, they never turn out like his. He is a perfectionist. And I am a perfectionist at heart. But I've got too much going on to make sure that's the only detail. He's perfecting that.
Precise measurements.
Precise.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm. It's the baking.
Down to the grain.
You don't open the oven when he's baking his cookies or you will hear about it. Or he'll give you the eye.
Oh, the stink eye.
So he'll give you the eye. But anyways, it's been fun. And it's just cool to see that my kids have each taken something that they've learned from me in the kitchen and applied it to their own.
Little pieces of you. They'll take their whole lives.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's been fun, but that was a fun little chapter of my life. And I moved on and I went on to teaching kids cooking classes in my kitchen. I had over 60 students, so that's always been great. And I've taught a few classes to adults, but I'd like to do a little bit more of that at some point.
Well, yeah, your kitchen's perfectly set up for it. When you were talking about it, because you have all the people sit on the outside of this, I don't know, what do you call that?
I know.
Because it's like the
horseshoe
island and there's a horseshoe around but and then you have that area in between where you can walk up there and maybe give them samples or slap them, and then of course you can do the big island in the middle. You can do all the dough and I don't know.
Right. It's versatile.
I'm basically illiterate when it comes to this.
Well, no. And Dylan and I've talked about it with you and Jeremy of putting a mirror up above so we can do some more filming, get the lights a little better. I think, we'll get there.
Yeah, the lighting in there for filming it'd be nice to have a little bit more light, but for just hanging out, it's great.
It is great.
It's super great. You don't want too much light all the time. The lighting for the filming, you don't want that on while you're just cooking and hanging out. Well, it's too much.
You know how that works. I've watched you. You know exactly how much light that you want when you're filming and everything. And I have no clue. You see my photos that I post on Instagram sometimes, and
I don't know. Some
I
of these
just don't
new
know how
cameras, these phones, like they do such a good job
good.
of faking being awesome. And
Yes.
it's like, is it actually awesome? It's like, I don't know.
I know.
Must be. Like, it's hard to say.
Keep taking
Like,
photos.
Katie with her, I don't know what phone she has. She's taking these pictures. And
She's great.
it just makes the, I've taken a couple pictures with her camera of her when we were working together. And it's like, I'm like, this thing is pretty nice.
I know.
Pretty nice camera
she's
on
good
here.
with her camera, with her phone. So, yeah, she's figured it out.
Yeah.
But
And which actually brings me, makes me think of food as something you're taking pictures of is also a hard thing to take pictures of or film. It's really hard to take pictures of. It's like, how many crappy pictures of food have you seen on like Instagram where it's like somebody took a picture of their plate and it's kind of looks like a pile of mush.
I know, and I've taken plenty. So it's definitely a skill set. And I traveled to Houston and Austin this past winter and visited two of my very talented friends who are both artists. And one of them is a food photographer.
Oh, really? Okay.
And she taught me a lot. Like she climbs up on the counter, she turns the lights down. She's all about what time you take the photos at of the day, usually in the morning with the natural light.
Yeah.
Just the way she kind of styles the food is an art in and of itself. So I learned a lot from her, but I also learned that you really have to like hone in on that. So I would find myself probably not baking or cooking as much to get those really solid pictures.
Do you have to fake it some of the time? Or
Kind of. Like you got to be really creative, and she just has an eye for it. I was so inspired by her, and it's made me really think about how to put things together. And that's something I've learned from you too, right from the very beginning. You're like how you would put it on the table and how we organize it and just kind of shoot over those different ingredients.
Oh yeah.
That was fun. And I think that's one of the reasons that I really enjoy having guests in my kitchen, not just people who are cooking, but you who comes in with your skill and Jeremy who comes in with his craft, and just people that have been guests in my kitchen has taught me a lot. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy it. It's not so much about me. It's what I really get to take from other people and incorporate that.
It's a good vibe. I mean, it really is. Like it feels like you're willing to share any of your secrets. Or are there secrets that you don't share?
You know, I don't even think it's about that. I think there's just things that I do instinctively that I don't even realize until someone will call me and be like, that didn't turn out, Celeste. What did you leave an ingredient out? It's like, oh, what did I do? But I think it's just second nature. Like I can just I can make a whole batch of cookies or bread and be talking to you and it's just done because I've done it so many times.
It does get more complicated when you're filming it though, because then you have to, there's like another layer of keeping track of what's going on. And it's when I'm working with people, it's like, well,
and you've seen it. You've helped me a lot.
Yeah. Well, you have to make it all make sense. And like, so how much of this? But remember that one, what was it? Was it the pork verde?
Yeah.
I think we forgot something. And when I was interviewing you kind of remembered you forgot something.
Yes. And
we all ate it and it was still great.
But I think it was a pretty important ingredient. And I don't think it's the only time actually.
It was pretty funny though.
There's a few times I can actually name the recipes I've forgotten things in that are quite important.
Yeah.
But you're right. They still taste good.
Was it the pork verde that you had written on a piece of paper that was like 20 years old or something?
Yes, exactly. It's like, 19, 20 years old. You're right.
You know what it is? It's when I make a video, it's easier to remember things.
Because you've seen it a million times
I don't
by the time you
normally
have to edit my stuff.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, yeah. I mean, in high school, I made a video on the respiratory system.
You did?
It was totally unsolicited. Like I just did it because I wanted to, and my, it was anatomy. I sucked at anatomy, but I was like, and my teacher was really cool, and he was working with me because I failed.
It's hard. Anatomy is hard.
Yeah, but I just didn't like to study. I didn't like to study.
Well,
you can't really. You don't study. You don't pass.
You figured it out how to make sense of it.
Yeah, well, it just commits it to memory. You make a video and you learn it in a way that's interesting rather because it's relevant in a way that's relevant. You're like, why would I care?
That's cool. I've never thought about doing that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, so I make a video of your recipe, and I have a lot of this stuff in my brain now forever. Not really, though.
If there's anyone that does, it's going to be you because you've spent a lot of time in my kitchen and behind your computer.
Yeah. So you are also going to be running for state representative.
I am.
Is that like officially a thing now?
It's official. I got my certificate the other day that said I am the Republican candidate running for state rep House District 10.
So what does that mean? I don't even know what a state representative is. I'm kind of like, I don't really know how
there's
this
policies and bills and all kinds of things that go into that. And the Republican Party, as you know, here in the state of Oregon, we are a minority in the House right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not know. I didn't know before, but District 10, which includes Lincoln County, over to Philomath and Monroe. Mm-hmm. There's 70,000 voters in our district. We are the only district on the coast that is Democrat.
Really?
The rest of the coast is all Republican.
Really?
That surprised me.
I could believe Southern Oregon would be, not the northern. Like
I know. I was surprised.
Really? That's very surprising because you have like Seaside and Astoria. Well, Astoria is pretty old though.
Right.
I feel like places that are like really, well, not necessarily. I don't really understand how all of this works.
It's kind of interesting. I've learned a lot more than I was even anticipating. Mm-hmm. When I was asked to accept this, I call it a calling because it truly is. It's very little pay for doing this job. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely one reason why I didn't accept. I mean, I didn't accept it because of the money. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get rich off of it, but yeah. I felt a real call to do this and I accepted it. But I've learned a lot. I've been speaking at events. I've been participating just in meetings and Zooms, just getting trained, knowing what's expected of me in this role if I end up making it come the general election time in November. But I've been out in our community, out in the rest of the district, talking to people, just listening to people and what's important and some of the things that are of concern and issues. I would really like to be able to help people in our district and be a voice for those people that may not have a voice. And so that for me, I've taken it very seriously and I want to give it everything I have. I'm doing it, so I may as well give it everything I have.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird state. I mean, I think there's similar states to Oregon. I'm not totally sure, but like where you have the vast majority of it is rural areas, and then you have a couple of cities, and the cities kind of represent the whole place.
That's right.
And is that kind of where you're stepping into, is kind of giving a voice to the rural areas more, or I guess Republican
Absolutely.
would be that more, right?
Yes, absolutely, because I feel that we're not being represented here in our district like we should be. Mm-hmm. And my opponent, which is the incumbent, has voted 97% of the time with Portland, Kate Brown.
Is that David Gomberg?
It's David Gomberg, and I like him. He's a friend. I consider him a friend, but I want to have our county, our district, have a better representation at the state capitol.
Yeah, I definitely
just be able to come to the table and have a conversation. I mean, we already have a super majority, so it'd be really nice if we could have a little bit more balance, right? And then we can actually come to the table, because right now, as it sits, we don't have a voice. We really don't have a voice. The supermajority is making the decisions for all of us in this state. So I think, we're on this red wave, and you don't have to be, extreme on either side. I would consider myself a person who's just looking to have some balance and also just being able to come to the table and talk. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very learning about my political edness, if you will, because I paid very little attention until, middle of Donald Trump. And for me, it's more like people make a big enough deal about it, then I start paying more attention.
Right. And we've had a lot of things that we've talked about even during this whole time, because there's a lot of issues that have come up that have brought these things to the forefront. For sure.
And the whole pandemic thing, that's really what hit me. And it's like,
me too.
I'm actually a pretty liberal person, but I'm not like super duper. I mean, like I'm also like, I'm pretty in the middle. Like I'm really conservative in some ways, and I'm kind of like understanding it now. Like this whole thing has kind of been good for kind of understanding myself in
Right.
that way. But like, yeah, I feel like I do feel like the more conservative is not represented enough in Oregon. Yeah, I don't like everything that Portland stands for. I don't
Well,
live in
look,
Portland. I don't want to live in Portland.
and look what's happened to Portland. I mean, what a sad situation. That's a place I think I can say for all of us, we enjoyed going to Portland. And I felt safe walking down the streets with my kids.
Yeah.
Even in the evening when it was light and dark in the summer, I could walk down the street and we could stay at the Nines or at the Best Western or eat down on the waterfront, eat uptown, whatever. And it was safe. And I could walk around with my shopping bags. I don't feel too safe anymore.
Yeah, I personally, and I'm sure a lot of folks out there like Kate Brown, but I just, I thought she was cool up until the pandemic, and then I realized I just had no idea who she was.
Right.
And I just didn't like her at all. And, I mean, and my girlfriend would get really angry at me because I would be like looking up, I'd be like on the internet, like worst governors in Oregon's history. She was like top 3. And then when she was the least liked governor in the whole country, I was like, yeah. It's like, okay, Casey, just relax.
Well, I
like
think
you're evil now. Like this is bad.
One of the things you brought up though is just that I think with these experiences that we've had, learning about who we are and defining that even more, and we do want to preserve our rights. We want to have a voice. We do not want our rights taken away.
Yeah.
And I think that's for me is that what really kind of got me off my chair and decided that if I want to have any say in this, I have to be willing to put myself out there. And it's very courageous. I spoke to 187 people in Florence on Saturday at a private hangar at the airport down there. It was really cool. But I walked around the corner and all these people were there and I thought, what am I doing? And I had a gentleman walk over to me and he said, this takes a lot of courage. He just said, I wish you the best. And I've heard that quite a few times going around speaking and just participating at events. That's a lot of courage that you have. And I think, boy, I'm learning a lot about courage because not everyone wants to put themselves out there like this.
Yeah.
And here I am.
I agree. I think it does take a lot of courage. It takes, you're put yourself out there. You're risking, I guess you risk losing, you risk looking bad or whatever, but you don't really look bad. If you go out there and you make the effort and you do your best, you represent the people that want to be represented, then I think eventually somebody's going to come through. Whether it's you or somebody else, somebody's going to come through and it will change eventually. I had no idea how the entire West Coast was blue.
I know.
I had no idea. Like if you would have asked me, before the 2016 election or whatever,
you wouldn't have known.
I would have just said, "Oh, I think California's red." I think, I really had no idea, like, because I didn't know anything. I'm just like live and let live. That's how I am.
I think that's kind of how a lot of us got in this country. But I also just wish it weren't so polarized. I went over to the fair the other day and I was at the booth for the Republican Party, and I walked over to the Democrat booth over there and I was talking to, they said, you're Republican, you're over. And I said, wouldn't it be nice if we could all just stop worrying about what color we are in the partisan races here?
Yeah.
I would just like to be friends with everyone. Why? So I guess that's what I'm saying is just because I'm running on the Republican ticket doesn't make me a person who doesn't appreciate a lot of the things that the Democrats stand for. Mm-hmm. But where my true identity is, I want to preserve my rights. And we have a fiscal responsibility in this country to run the government the way we do in the private sector. And if I were running my business or our family's businesses the way the government's running them, we wouldn't be here. And our small businesses on the coast of Oregon are the backbone of this state. Mm-hmm. They really are. And I want to see us be able to live here and work here and raise our children here and have retired parents. I think we should all be able to live here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see those rights and those things taken away from us, from the taxation to the spending in our state capital. We need to get a better grip and more responsibility when it comes to how those taxes are spent.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that, but I do agree that like the whole, whether you're red or blue or Republican or whatever, it's like I don't generally want to jump into to pick a team because
No.
and just like you just kind of believe whatever that team does or whatever. I've never been like that because it's like you said, like there's qualities and beliefs and traits from both parties that are valid, I think, and middle way.
I do too. I really do. And if we could, I don't know how we're going to get there, but I plan to be in office. I really do. And when I'm there, I plan to make decisions based on good values and good morals and do it so that I can feel good at the end of the day and be a voice, like I said, a voice for the people here in our district. Listen.
Yeah.
Because I think that's how we really learn about what really great ideas are. If we listen to other people's ideas. I don't know everything. I don't even claim to know half of the things I'm going to have to know. But I do think that the most important thing is we can connect, we can listen, and really just try to make where we live a better place. But you do understand. I mean, you're taxed. You get your paycheck every week. You see how much it costs to go to the grocery store to buy basic items. Mm-hmm. So we all understand it. We just, if you have to budget your checkbook or you won't have enough money to pay your bills, and that just comes down to the fiscal responsibility each one of us have.
Yeah. One thing that I know you kind of represent more, I mean, I know clearly, is small business. Mm-hmm. And during the pandemic, it seems like an unusual amount of small business kind of suffered. And I'm still kind of perplexed on how the big stores like Walmart and everything stayed closed when all the small businesses, a lot of them had to close, and the whole essential business thing and everything. But having a voice for small business, I think, is something that we need. Somebody really to stand up for the small business. What that means, I don't really know. Like I say,
I think it started last summer when we fought the food tax proposal in the city of Newport.
That's right.
And that was tough. And I didn't realize actually how upset some of the people in town would be about that, even though I think as a whole, most people didn't want the food tax. But when they realized, like, oh, well, where are we going to get that? And how are we going to give the people at the city a raise? Those people at the city are my friends. Mm-hmm. It's not a, one of us is right, but I didn't think that was the right move.
Yeah,
and so
let's tax the food. Like that's like really getting people where it hurts the most.
It hurts the most. And the other thing is that a lot of people may not understand restaurants have a very, very slim margin. So if I have to give 5% of my gross or even my net profit, it's gone. Mm-hmm. It's gone. So you're right. And I think it just needs to be more equitable. If we're going to tax, let's do it straight across the board for where every business is taxed the same.
Yeah.
Let's just maybe budget at the city level a little bit more and not be giving everyone raises during COVID. I mean, I think that's kind of where we were. We took cuts. I'm sure Hannah's parents who in restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
They took cuts in their paychecks. Our big concerns were just making sure that our employees' families were fed. And I think to us that really was an eye-opener, just the food insecurity in our county. And as we've seen prices in homes go up for rent, these are concerns.
Yeah, and hopefully that's something you're going to be looking at, because I know that poor Donna across the street at the grocery outlet, she needs employees, but like they're
right.
just, it's like, and I'm asking, oh, hey, Casey, are you guys making videos to help me find people? And it's like, well, I don't know if the video's going to help because there's nobody to find.
No one to draw from right now.
They don't have a place to live. There's no place to live. The rent's just sky high, and there's not very many places at all.
Right.
Where are the people to run the town? It's like this.
And it's not. This isn't just happening in Newport. So I think these are some big conversations to have and really dig in and figure out how we're going to address these issues and come up with solutions. But I do know that our county government and our city governments need to tighten up.
Yeah, my girlfriend worked for the Forest Service for a little while, and I learned a little bit about government during that time. She had somebody hired on as who was military, so they get precedent over somebody non-military, and they definitely, which is cool. I'm think that's great. But this person came on there and was just like sick all the time, couldn't do the job at all, but they couldn't fire her. So, and my girlfriend has to do these surveys out in the woods, and it's like you can't, and she's not allowed to do it without another person. So she couldn't do her job either.
Really?
And it's like, so you can't fire this person. They're seasonal, so it's like, oh well, we'll just not fire them, and then they'll go away eventually. But it's like a waste. It's like a waste of time.
It is, and the resources are just going nowhere, and doesn't even matter if your girlfriend's being paid. She wants to be productive. I mean, everyone, I believe people in general feel a lot of pride from hard work. Sitting at home on your couch, not making money, not working. I just, for the people who are able, right? Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of really happy people who are doing nothing.
I don't either.
But I think there's a lot of people that would choose nothing over something because they don't want to do what you're doing, which is to be brave and go out and be vulnerable. I was reading this book a while back. It's a real interesting book. It's called Ptah.
Oh.
Yeah. Very strange.
I haven't heard of that.
Very strange book. But he was talking about being vulnerable and like how that's really a strength. It was a really good book. Like a very strange Australian lady.
I will follow that.
Who was like a channeling this being from the Pleiades or whatever. And whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. It can totally be fiction or not. But it's really good messages. Well,
I think that's it. The message in that, like what you're going to take from that and how you apply that. And I got my degree in communications, which I'm not necessarily the best communicator, but I learned a lot about communication styles. And when I got my graduate degree in negotiation, mediation, and conflict resolution, vulnerability was one of the main topics that came up over and over. If we're not vulnerable and we're trying to work with anyone, whether it's in a good situation or maybe a more difficult situation, we're not really being open with each other.
Yeah.
So you can't really learn where we're coming from if you're not willing to be a little vulnerable.
Yeah, it's like talking to each other with masks on.
Right. Exactly.
I always felt like the medical part of it, whatever. But I just you don't communicate the same. I don't feel like I'm really there with you at the same level. We can't see your face. It's being hidden, and that was part of my beef with that. Was this like I didn't like being covered up. I didn't like not being able to see other people's faces.
Me neither. I mean, whoever would have thought we would have been wearing masks
for like 2 years
in the United States? I mean, I went to Japan in 2019. We took the family there, and I thought, all the people on the public transportation were wearing masks, and I thought, wow, that would be such a different experience. And here we were 1 year later, and it was just a very interesting
and it's
experience.
It's a totally different culture there.
It is.
And now it's like, I feel like some people, even though like it's not mandated, people can do it if they want to, but I feel like some people are trying to make it a part of their culture. But I'm like, I'm a cowboy. I'm going back to the way it was.
Me too. And I think for me, I kind of went with how I felt, just being me. And I didn't feel comfortable. Not that everyone that was wearing a mask felt comfortable. For me though, I just needed to be true to how I felt. Whether that meant I just stayed home more and had more people come over and visit my home and not be out in public. But I just didn't I felt like I was kind of disappearing putting that mask on.
Yeah. I just
pulling back.
I wasn't going to go to people's houses if I was going to have to wear a mask. Like, I'll wait till we don't have to.
Right.
And as far as the government's concerned, that's probably better for them. They were like, we don't want you to
go
visit your house with your friends,
Right. But it is so nice to be able to see people again. And I think it's more personable, obviously, but just like being able to embrace and see people and talk and smile. It's just such a part of who we are.
Yeah, it's been really nice. It's been super nice. And the thing is like sometimes I get annoyed. I still see people in their car riding around by themselves with a mask on. And I'm just like, you know what? I've never been like told something to their face and been like, you shouldn't be wearing that. It's just like, just talk to them like normal still. It's just like, we're all just normal. And if you wear it, it's fine. It's cool. And I think that's the way it should have been the whole time.
It should have been that way the whole time.
That's just
and
me,
here
though.
we are, and it's just like so nice to see your smile. And Hannah, and you know, did you guys ever go to the grocery store and people kind of looked at you like, I kind of know that person, but
Oh, I've totally like.
Oh, I was terrible because our faces are who we are.
Yeah.
And it's our expression with our eyes and our smile that is recognizable.
I also was like, oh, if I knew who they were and I didn't want to talk to them, I could just pretend. So there was a benefit.
Also,
okay, I'll be honest, it's true. I'm sure we can all say that that's the case.
That's
Hannah,
what I liked about it, to be honest. I'm a
Is
huge
it-
introvert, so
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I don't know you.
I
yeah,
hate talking to people in the grocery store.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for me to avoid them.
yeah.
But, it's kind of funny with the masks. I felt like when I was first meeting somebody, I would kind of make up what the rest of their face would look like. And then when I would see them without the mask, I was like, whoa, that's what they look like. It was
You're
totally
right.
different from what I thought they looked
I
like.
know.
You know what?
The same
You're right.
Same thing.
In fact, I met this really great waitress at a restaurant in Hood River during COVID, and I gave her my phone number. Her mom had just passed away, and I don't know how we found this out, but we sat and talked for a while, and she actually came down to Newport with her boyfriend and called me, and they came over and we sat across my dining room table together and just sat and talked, and she looked totally different than what I thought she looked like.
Isn't it funny the way our brains fill in the blank?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to fill in a narrative, have a narrative, and our minds do it.
No, that's a cool subject, the whole psychology.
Yeah.
I mean, and that same exact type of thing comes in handy for making videos because it's all about tricking the mind. Like, you turn the camera really fast, it blurs.
Yep.
This is something I'm working on right now, blur. And so you cut it in the middle from a separate time when you turn it. And then it's like I can turn from this room into a totally different place, and it looks real.
That's fun.
Because
I
your
think
brain
you have a
fills
fun
it in.
job.
Your brain fills it in.
It does. We've got to make the story.
And all the TikTokers, they're figuring it out. When they jump and their clothes change and stuff. Like it's
Okay,
all
that's
it's all the
cool.
tricking of the mind.
Do you ever watch Derek Huff on the little reels?
Maybe.
Well,
I'm
you
not
should
totally
watch him.
Sure.
He and his girlfriend. There's enough of you guys out there that watch him. I know because he's got quite a following. But he did that during COVID, and they did a lot of dancing, and their clothes would change, and I like the timing on that is amazing.
Well, if you think about the amount of work that goes into it, it's like, okay, so I'm wearing a pink dress or a blue shirt or whatever. I'm gonna jump, and now I got to go change my clothes, and then I got to come back,
And I got to come back
and
in
then I
the
got to
same
jump
spot.
again. Yeah, exactly. You have to mark where your feet go, or really really know, and then I'm gonna jump. And then I'm going to go change my clothes again.
No kidding.
Like how much work is that? Some of these people I've seen, they're not wearing simple things to take on and put off. It's like,
It's a
a lot of work.
It's a full outfit, the whole thing.
Like some of these YouTubers, these creators, what do they call them? What's the other thing?
Influencers.
Yeah. It's a lot of work that goes into that.
A lot.
Because just doing this podcast on the side, like I do video full time, then I do this, I can't even keep up with it.
It's a lot. And I think this is such a great medium for you too. When you asked me to come on your podcast, I was so flattered because I know how talented you are and how much you enjoy it. And I think that's what I love most about you is that you don't just do it halfway. You really figure out your skill set and your craft. And all the stuff that it takes to make up what you're doing here is fun. And I've enjoyed watching your podcasts.
Oh, thanks.
In fact, I was home. Carter's like, "You're going to be on his podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Wow, that's so cool." He's watching it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see you taking that into the next level for yourself, not just, staying in what you know best. You're really expanding.
Well, I think the community is actually really appreciates it.
I do too.
Nobody else is doing this here, and not like this.
We were missing it.
And just to have a kind of a place where people can come and talk and have a real conversation, and you can listen, and you can actually participate. Like, here's a chat.
Is someone?
Nobody said anything like they hadn't have any
I
questions.
do have one thing.
Oh, okay.
Leading back to the sriracha debate, I guess Somebody says that there are 2 varieties of sriracha at Walmart.
Okay.
Currently.
Yeah, but they're not the.
Are they the real
They gotta
sriracha
be
brand
the
though?
cock brand.
There was something
The
about
Rooster
that. They
brand.
like sold it or they lost their lease or something. We got to find out. But there was something, I think, at the beginning of COVID or towards the beginning.
Can you look that up, Hannah?
Sriracha.
Yeah, let's find out what
There's
happened
something.
to sriracha.
What happened to the sriracha?
Yeah.
What
'cause
happened to the sriracha?
feel like
That's the
everybody's-
big question.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of aware, but like
Well-
they're like, oh, there's like a pepper shortage, and that's like all we know.
Okay.
There's like
There's
all we know.
lots of shortages.
Yeah, I don't know.
I still
I
haven't
think
seen
there was
this wheat
something
shortage.
going on with sriracha before
Okay.
that.
It's a shortage of chili peppers that are needed
Casey.
to make the spicy Thai sauce.
Did you know this?
Well, I just heard
You
there was a
did.
shortage of peppers. I was like, is that really it though? Like, I've never actually looked
That's
it
the
up.
first result on Google search.
What-
What do you know?
So
I mean, I think sriracha is good on a poke bowl with spicy mayo. Have you
Oh
done
my
that?
god, your
the
poke
combo?
bowls. No, your poke bowls.
The poke bowls.
sriracha
Come
mayo
on.
is a game changer.
Oh.
It's
my
a game
God.
changer.
Yeah,
What do you use it for?
totally.
I want to know.
I like to put it on salad with like tofu. I like to put it honestly on everything. Put it on sandwiches.
Yeah.
Burgers,
French fries.
French fries. Could do that. Yeah.
I even tried it
Honestly,
with fish and
anything.
chips.
Fish and chips. That could be.
Oh
Might
yeah,
have to try
It's
that.
all about the sauce.
mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
Just like,
Hey, by the way, I made the best mac and cheese 2 weeks ago.
oh my god.
Just made me think about it. I'm going to make it for you next time.
I've definitely bought, you go to restaurants and now, like, I think when I was young, macaroni and cheese, we ate macaroni and cheese and you watch cartoons and eat gummies. And now there's like all this adult versions of that stuff.
Yeah, gourmet mac and cheese.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of times it's got like nice, how did you make yours?
Oh my word. I used a couple different kinds of cheese, but I kept it really simple. And I think it has something to do with the pepper.
Well, I found
What else
with
I found?
mac and cheese is the sauce is like, if you're going to make it from scratch, like
Yeah.
you got to be able to make the sauce really good. And I've never
That's it.
done
Not
it
too
myself.
much. Not too much flour.
Not too much flour. I
Not
didn't
too
even know you
much
put
flour.
flour in it.
Yeah,
I've never
you do.
put flour in
It's
mine.
like a roux. It's your cheese and the butter and the flour. But I just
Like
kind of went
sour cream or something in there? Like,
no,
no sour cream?
It's the cheese. I'm
What kind of
telling you.
cheese?
And I used Johnny's seasoning salt, and that really made. I did like a white sharp cheddar and a medium cheddar. I'm telling you guys, it was good. You could add Gouda.
The grocery outlet had the Tillamook white sharp cheddar
Okay,
for like half price.
that's
It was just like, it was all Mexican. It was the Spanish on the outside. It was all, you couldn't.
really that was it.
And that was why they were selling it for like half. And then they had like a 20-pound block. And then like
Should've bought it.
nobody was buying it because it was so much cheese. It's like, it's a good deal, but I got 20 pounds of cheese.
Well, we could have split it.
No, my girlfriend bought one. Don't worry.
She
we're good.
did.
It's still,
Okay,
there's still
good.
some left.
Good for her.
I think there is.
She's great. We went bike riding on my e-bikes during COVID.
That was
Out to the
awesome.
lighthouse.
And we didn't even get COVID.
We didn't get COVID. I mean, that was crazy,
That I
right?
know
Because
of.
we were around each other and we weren't in the same household, so that was kind of weird. But we did it. We just went out there and did it, and it was fun. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the mac and cheese recipe if you like it. I'll let you try it
Yeah,
first.
the mac and cheese.
Uh-huh.
I definitely. Although I'm trying to, I'm still working a little bit of the COVID weight off.
I know that's tough.
I didn't.
it's tough.
I ate way too much ice cream, drank too much beer, didn't exercise enough.
Well,
Simple formula.
I think a lot of us can relate. Every week when I submit my recipes to Steve Card, he talks about the cookie bars that I have brought in. And so last time I tried to bring some, he was out of town, but it reminded me that I'm going to bring him some of those too.
Oh, didn't you bring something?
I-
Oh no, you brought your.
I actually got out my skillet, the butter, the berries, the cherries to make my cobbler, but I'm doing so much building right now, developing that
yeah.
I got a phone call about 5 and it just sidetracked me. So I thought it's not really who I am because I usually bring something with me when I go places that is, we can enjoy it and something to eat. The other night I did my campaign kickoff party at the Maritime Museum.
Yeah.
And I made sugar cookies in the Oregon State shape.
Were there any left?
No, there were none left. None. They were all taken. So anyways, this just me. I usually have something to offer, but I didn't. So.
Oh no. I saw you with that pie dish.
I
And I was
know.
like, wow, you
What's
brought
in that?
pie. And I was like,
I was trying. but I didn't.
I think that's what I remember about you most growing up in school with Carter and everything is I remember that you always would bring food.
Oh
You
my gosh,
always had food like cupcakes or something.
Hannah. I did. My hands were always full of something.
Yes,
You're right.
absolutely. That's
I think
what I
it's just
remember
my
most about you.
comfort, my comfort zone.
Absolutely.
You know, that's funny you say that because I did used to bring chowder up to the middle school, and I'd serve chowder like once a week, and I'd just bring a big pot, and I'd bring cups, and I fed everyone that wanted chowder. I never ever said no to anyone, and I fed kids. What I found out later, kids that were homeless that didn't have a hot meal, and I had a few of them come up to me, very touching because I wasn't really aware of that. I grew up in a single home with a mom who raised 4 of us, worked 2 and 3 jobs. And I know a lot of people in this community might be like, oh, really? But I don't have a very hard time relating to people who have had food insecurities and a home insecurity. And I think that was probably the most poignant thing in my children going through school as a parent, just learning about the kids in our community. And I grew to love so many of the kids here. And it was through food because I brought food and it opened up conversation and it, I got a little glimpse into some of these kids' lives who were so touched that I brought them a bowl of chowder and a piece of bread. So I think food for me is just, it's a way to communicate. And there's always memories being made, right? Who can ever think of like, what is the best time that we have with our families or friends? It's usually over a good meal. And even if it's over a top ramen that you pull out of a bag and microwave it, I mean, that's, I think, where my love language definitely lies and my comfort zone is. It's just when I can be me.
Everybody needs food, and that's really what connects us.
Well said. Mm-hmm. It's a connector.
Yeah, you've been so giving. I mean, you make all these desserts, and you certainly don't eat them all.
No, I don't. I make most of them and telling the kids, don't touch that because I'm taking, they're like, Mom, but I do give most of everything away that I make.
Yeah. Cause it's funny. Like, I think somebody was asking like, how do you make all this stuff and not gain weight? And it's like, well,
hey, especially since Dylan's accident. I mean, he got in that accident 2.5 years ago, right before COVID. We had done our 4th or 5th triathlon that year. And we're both, after all of COVID and him being down and recovering, it's time to get back at it. So,
well, you guys are really active. I mean, you seem to be, you guys do a really good job of like maintaining yourselves or whatever. But like when you make all of these delicious desserts and then you find places for them to go. Yeah. Like I don't know how you find these places but I can't imagine just one of these desserts just showing up and like, yeah, I'll have some of that. I mean, I'm trying not to right now. You've been good. I mean, honestly, it is really cool that you guys even try a bite. If you don't end up taking a piece with you, that you've always like, hey, yeah, I'll try that, which is cool, but no pressure. Even if I made a whole plate and you sat down and said, hey, I'm fasting or I'm not eating this meal or whatever, I'd be like, hey, no problem. I never get offended if someone doesn't eat, but I do have one lucky person in town, John Rogers, who lives over close to me, and I actually will drop a plate of food off to him quite often, put it in his mailbox, and he's got a sensor in there with a video camera, and he knows when I do it. And he trades me fish. Oh, no way.
So it's a great trade-off because he doesn't bake, but he fishes.
Oh, man.
So we have this great thing. He's getting older and he doesn't fish as much, but I always drop dessert off, and it's between our house and Moes. So I give it to Dylan a lot of times, and he drops it off on his way. But
I love that.
I fed actually a lot of homeless people when we lived in Nye Beach too. The kids will tell you over and over again that I fed many homeless people that were down in Nye Beach.
I think that's awesome. I think that's much better than giving them money because I would rather give them some food than some money to go, buy booze with. But I mean, that's like the really old way to look at it. But no,
but you're right. And Hannah brought up a good point. I mean, we all need to eat, so why not make it a nice hot meal? Everyone appreciates a hot meal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, it's great to have a place to drop those desserts off. And who doesn't love a piece of cake or a cookie as a surprise?
A cobbler.
Or cobbler.
Cobbler is so good.
I'll have to make this cobbler for you. Macaroni and cheese and cobbler.
I don't think I liked it as much when I was little because cobbler, like I was like really picky and I didn't like the berries and
Me neither. I've grown to like all of that.
and now cobbler's like that's like a there's a cake and there's pie and there's cobbler.
Have you ever had our Marionberry cobbler at Moes though?
Oh yeah.
Because that's where I learned to love cobbler. But for years being married into the family, I didn't eat it. I didn't even know how good it was.
Really?
Because I didn't like cooked fruit. Well, it's now my favorite thing. And I've incorporated this with my daughter Caprice, who's running Moes West this year.
Oh, no way.
Who makes the Marionberry cobbler milkshake at Moes West. And so I finally got my way after 20 some odd years of asking. She made it happen.
Yeah, I was out there at Otter Rock, and I saw her there, and I was like, oh, she's working over here. I didn't know she was running the whole thing.
She's running it.
That's killer.
She's running it. So you have to go in and get a shake.
What's that other restaurant you guys opened up with over at
Hook and Slice?
Is it Hook and Slice?
At Salishan Golf Pro Shop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Salishan's just like, no.
And my second oldest, Kennedy, is running that one.
I got to go check that out.
It's so good. It's so good. It's different. It's not a Moes brand, so we kind of were able to be a little bit more creative with the menu. And it is a collaboration of all the kids and Dylan and I and a little bit of each one of our favorite menu items.
I heard you did have some kind of different type of menu items there.
Poke bowl.
Okay, you have a poke bowl. I think... but like, is there like vegetarian options or something? There was something different about it. I forget.
You
what
could get salads and some other things that could be a vegetarian or meatless or whatever. But mostly it's a good old like golf pro shop food that it's a bar
that's like
grill.
burgers and fries.
And we have the best burger.
But the poke bowl, that's totally like
the poke bowl.
Yeah, the poke bowl you made was the first at your house. We went and I did we film you making the poke bowl?
Yes, you did. And it's the same one.
That poke bowl, I didn't know what poke bowl was before that.
Really?
I didn't know what poke was. Like I've had sushi and sashimi and
I think I remember this.
But I didn't know that was a thing. It's so freaking good.
It is.
What's
good.
in a poke bowl though? Can you remind me?
Well, we love ahi tuna, so it's just cubed up fresh ahi tuna, and then some avocado and edamame and rice, a little sriracha, spicy mayo, cucumber, green onion. I mean, you could put some other things in there, but those are the main for the poke bowl that we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I take one of those about now.
I know. That sounds so good.
Same.
We should have called Kennedy and had her stop by.
That's all good. It's all good. Well, how are you feeling? You feeling pretty good? I think this could be the end.
I feel great.
I think this could be the end.
Okay.
Let me ask you one question.
Okay.
Okay. When you go to your house for dinner, is it like going to Benihana's? Like, do you put on a show?
Sometimes.
With your island and
you flip the little thing around your finger, the spatula.
Yeah.
I will say, I think my greatest accomplishment in my kitchen is teaching my children how to cook. I think to me, that's like the greatest thing that could come out of a mom cooking for myself anyways. And what I love so much is each one of those kids have their own skill set with what they've taken and made their own. And so I think they're kind of my show in the kitchen because when we're all in there cooking, each one of them bring their piece that makes it amazing when it's all said and done. One of them knows how to style the food. One, I know what we're going to do with that. And then they all just kind of know how to put the puzzle pieces together. And I think to me, that's sitting back a little bit and like letting them take a little bit more of the lead. But yes, it's always a display. I think it's because I always like how it looks.
Casey knows that. I'm gonna have to stop by.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
And
Kennedy's stir fry was.
Oh gosh!
Kennedy's when she was making it, I was definitely like.
You guys were kind of having your eye, you and Jeremy, like, I don't know, but she surprised you.
No, it was dank.
She surprised you.
Oh, it was dank.
And she's such a cool cat. Like she's just calm and. Yeah. And if you want someone to style the food and organize, Caprice, she's your girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That kind of makes it, she kind of looks like she almost like kind of military focus.
She just knows. She always has a place for everything. So anyways, yeah, it's fun. Dylan and I love to cook and the kids love to cook and you've seen it. I mean, we made pretzels in the kitchen, remember?
Oh, the pretzels.
We made pretzels.
Those were so good. The mustard.
the mustard. We had a couple different kinds that were really good. But
yeah, this is not a podcast to look.
I'm really
if you're too hungry.
missing. I know I'm so hungry, and I'm really missing our time in the kitchen. So I'm looking forward. You're gonna be in my kitchen on July 21st.
21st?
21st.
I think so.
I've got this guy.
Yeah.
I guess he's an influencer. I mean, I don't pay too much attention to.
Is he going to influence us?
Well, it's called Dad's Dinners.
Oh no.
And he came into Moes a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
and didn't tag Moes, but he just posted some photos on his page. And I had a few friends like screenshotted it, sent it to me, and said, "Look who was in your restaurant." And I was like, "Who? I mean, who is this guy?" Well, he's from the Valley, I think Albany or Salem. He's a single dad with 3 kids, and he's cooking in Instapots.
Okay.
And on his grill, and he cooks every night now with his kids. And basically the way he got to be doing this is he decided was tired of taking them out to dinner.
Yeah.
And now he's creating these memories with them, and he's going over to his parents on Wednesday nights and cooking with them.
Yeah.
They're older.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, apparently you were in our restaurant. Why don't you come back down? And I'd love to meet your kids." I was I was raised by a single mom, and we talked for a while. Well, anyways, he's going to come and show us how to make, like, I guess his favorite meal on July 21st.
Well, we should definitely do.
And you're going to be back in my kitchen.
Yeah, I want to have.
It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It used to be every week.
Yeah.
And now it's
It was
not.
once a week.
It was once a week for the most part. I mean, we were pretty regular.
Yeah, well, I've kind of figured out like some of this shorter kind of reels, TikTok stuff. So maybe I'll have to re-edit some of this, and I can send some to you, because I've actually figured out with WeTransfer I can send things.
Really?
It didn't used to work on downloading it on
Now
your
we
phone.
can do it?
Yeah, WeTransfer is cool. I learned about WeTransfer from a surfer called Kai Lenny. He's like a big wave.
Of course.
And I was like, oh, Kai Lenny probably knows what's going on.
And he did.
And I've loved WeTransfer ever since. It's just so easy, Like I don't understand Dropbox. Google whatever.
I don't understand Dropbox either. I'm like, somehow I have 200 photos out there, but I don't know.
I've just never liked it. And you can send 2 gigabytes for free, so you can always use it even if you're just poor or whatever.
Well, you have to teach me this, and maybe there'll be a perfect time when you come back.
But I think I can send them to you. And then you'll be able to post them on your...
Well, that'd be fun, because, people keep asking. I mean, it's the time thing. I take a picture of food when I'm cooking, and I don't do it a lot anymore because I cook a lot. So there's not enough time, like you said.
It's got to be the reels. It's all about the reels.
I got to do the reels.
Do you do reels?
I did a few, and then anyways.
Hannah, do you do reels?
I don't make reels, but I do.
Oh man,
have
look
TikTok.
at this. I'm the. Oh, she's okay. I don't do any TikTok.
TikTok is like the OG reels.
Ooh, the OG reels.
No,
yeah,
I suck at TikTok.
I'm not good at it, but the reels are kind of fun.
I don't take it too seriously.
Do you do dances?
No, I just stream of consciousness, say what's ever on my mind, and sometimes people like it.
It's weird, right? I mean,
I can't do it.
You never know what people are going to like.
It.
I mean, I don't know about you, but one day I posted this. I don't even know. I just tried a reel, and I actually thought I was posting to a story, and it posted to a reel. And then one of my adult kids was like, "Mom, you had 8,000 whatever likes. Is it likes or is it?"
There's all kinds of things.
Likes, shares,
whatever.
Yeah.
And I was
Views.
like, "Is that a lot?" In an hour, 8,000 people saw my reel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. I would like to do a little bit more of that.
You get a lot of exposure with those things.
You learn quicker whether it's working or not.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah. And then sometimes I've had posts go viral that I didn't think were that great.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the posts that you work the least amount of energy into seem to always go viral for some reason.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys probably had thousands and thousands of looks, but I mean, anyways, it's where we're headed. I guess.
an influencer.
You are.
I'm influencing you right now.
I love it.
That's such a weird term, influencer.
It is. But I guess this guy's an influencer. And honestly, we have a lot of people who call us and say, "Hey, if you let us eat at your restaurant and stay here, blah, blah, we'll do this story." And it's like, I don't know, maybe it's actually the smartest thing to advertise and the best way right now. But I think this guy who's over in the Valley is the Dad's Dinners. He has over 100,000 followers in a year.
That's really good.
And he didn't call me. I called him.
Really?
And that was cool because he wasn't tagging. He wasn't just like But he came over and he posted a few little things. We went to lunch, took the kids to lunch, and he posted a bunch. And it's just kind of crazy. Like he said he had 30,000 likes in 1 hour off of a meal he made in Instapot. Now Instapot's sending him a new Instapot all the time. Oh. And even the Pioneer Woman has sent him things.
Pioneer Woman?
I mean, that's pretty amazing. The Pioneer Woman from Oklahoma.
I don't know who she is.
Well, she's got some cookbooks out.
I bet she does. I'm terrible on all this. Like, I'll post things, but I get addicted, and then I gotta restrict myself.
You can't be down every little alley looking at everything.
Most of my content's like surf stuff too, and then like some of the homesteader people show up or whatever. And I don't know.
I know there's so much out there.
Now I'm just learning about economy. That's why
the economy.
Economy, like, yeah. I'm just like only what I want in the brain.
There you go. There's a lot of space there because there's a lot of, there is, Casey.
What's that? Are you, what?
There's a lot of space in Casey's brain. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying we are filling our brains so quickly.
That was the joke of the day.
I know, that was good. Because, the timing.
Call me Spacey, Casey. Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, you think about how quickly we're taking things in and the capacity that our brains have. It's pretty amazing. At the rate that we're learning things, I mean, the younger generations are way ahead of where I am at my age.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So.
Yeah, when Dayton was here, he's 16 and he like knows so much stuff that I don't know.
I know.
And I just don't even.
And you know way more than I do.
And
Hannah knows it's nuts.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like we really do have a lot that we can put in there and process and learn. And
endless amount of knowledge on the internet, but that is also
double-edged.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. There's a little bit of a vice to it. Mm-hmm. If you're overstimulating yourself with information all the time, you feel the anxiety.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
I think that's the practice we're learning is to like, how do we unwind a little bit and have more balance?
Right. You got to have balance. You got to take a break and read a book or something.
You mean from like social media or from learning or from just being too busy?
Just give your brain a break.
Just from the, somebody that's super into TikTok. You spend like 3 hours on TikTok and watch X amount of videos.
Yeah.
And it stresses your brain out,
really?
After a while.
Oh, because it's so much
info, Oh. And I mean, I'm a huge,
You're a TikToker?
I'm on it all the time, yeah. But, I've learned to take breaks,
Oh, that's good.
I got to put it down. And
that could be valuable to like teach people how to take breaks. Like,
that could be a job.
It could be called the Hannah technique.
Profession.
Yeah.
I bet there's already people out there doing that.
No.
How about I take a break off TikTok and go to Celeste's house and have her teach me how to make some cilantro cream sauce?
Oh, man.
Hey, anytime, Hannah, you're coming.
Okay.
You're coming over.
The cream
Sounds
sauce is amazing.
It's really cool for me to be in here before we end because just with you and Hannah, I know you really well, Casey, but she is such a cool girl. Like I watched her pretty much from the age of 5 years old when we moved here. She was 5. My son Carter was 5. And I knew her all the way through graduation. So
did you go to school with Carter?
Yeah, I did.
Graduated together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
2014, baby.
2014. So this is really cool to be sitting in the same room with you and watching what you're doing tonight. And it's fun. This is like just full circle for me.
Yeah, you should have saw her when she got in here. She was like a dried up sponge. And then like I was teaching her about the podcast.
She's got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I mean.
I know.
I just wanted to make that analogy.
I
love it.
I'm getting my footing here. I'm like a newborn horse. I'm like stumbling on this.
Well, I think you found your pasture.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways. How did we get here anyhow?
Yeah. We went all over the place. We were like food,
I know.
The politics, the food.
Just don't walk behind me too close. I might kick you. That's why I'm terrified of horses.
I know.
I had one guy tell me, he was like, if you walk behind that horse, he'll kick you in the head and he'll kill you.
Yeah, they will.
And it stuck with me my whole life. Now I'm terrified of horses.
No, you just don't. You just have to touch them on the butt to let them know you're there.
Yeah. And also what side you get on and off, it has a big plays a big role in that
Yeah.
too. So anyways,
Yeah, it's just when they get spooked. But yeah, they're big animals.
yes, they
They're
are.
really
They're
big.
beautiful, terrifyingly.
Yeah.
So-
Have you guys ever been over to the southeastern Oregon, like the Steens?
No.
So they have wild horses there.
Are you kidding? I've heard of this.
So you drive down to Burns, Oregon, and then you head further southeast, southwest, east, yeah.
Really?
Anyway, they're just roaming around. Like the horses just got released, and well, we had horses brought in from like Spain, or no, was it from Spain? Europe. I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
somehow horses weren't here originally.
Okay.
Well, they were, but they weren't. Now it's getting complicated. But they went extinct, and then Europe brought them back over, and then the Native Americans got them. So
Right.
I think there's still some wild ones just running around. It's really
That's
cool.
cool.
That's cool.
I'll have to check that out when I take a ride on that side of the state.
Yeah. So next week, Pablo is supposed to come on. I don't know.
Pablo, huh?
Yeah, Pablo. You ever met this guy, Pablo? He's a barber.
No, but I've heard a lot of things about that barber.
Really?
I just didn't know his name was Pablo.
Yeah, it's Pablo.
Maybe have you tried him yet, or? Maybe you
No,
will now,
because
because
it's hard to get into. Like you have to be kind of like
This
in the
is what
club.
I've heard. You're in the club.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm in the club.
I think after Pablo comes next week, you'll be in the club.
We'll see. Well, like,
You might have an inside track.
but we were
This
at
is your plan this whole time.
Right. He's just.
I want Pablo
that's a
on the
good plan.
podcast so I can be part of his club.
well, he says he's an amateur historian.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Interesting.
And we were my buddy Abe, Sylvanen throws a 4th of July bash, and so I got to meet Pablo at the 4th of July bash, and he agreed to do the podcast, but hasn't confirmed. So I'm hoping he's going to come on. I don't know, but we were talking about shipwrecks because I'm working on this series of shipwrecks.
I saw that little piece that you did up there in Seaside or
that
Cannon
was-
Beach.
Oh no, that I didn't tell anybody. Yeah.
Sorry. I mean,
No,
Northern
that it
Coast.
wasn't. No, those weren't the right
Those
places.
even the right one?
No,
But you did a little piece that I saw that was really cool.
It
Just a
was-
quick little video.
the Bella. It was Bella, a 3-masted schooner that sank in 1906.
Wow.
In Florence.
Oh, in Florence.
Yeah, so it was
Okay.
down in Florence.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a little familiar with that.
It's
So I'm anxious
it's
to
pretty
hear.
stinking cool. I mean, it's basically a pirate ship. Yeah.
This is going to be a fun one.
It was like a logging one, but he knows a bunch of stuff about a lot of these kinds of things. And I went and filmed some of this, but I've gotten so many different shipwrecks. But right now, working on telling the story of the New Carissa. You remember the New Carissa?
Yes.
Did you see it in Walport when
Yeah.
it ran aground for it was only here for like a week.
Okay. Well, I think you're going to tell more about that later, right? We'll know more.
Yeah.
Some photos, videos of just some stuff behind
Well,
the scenes.
my dad filmed a bunch of it because we lived in Coos Bay at the time.
Oh, that's cool.
But we came up here and we did get some shots of it. And my dad's not like a videographer or anything. He's like a
But he
maintenance.
took some like home reels.
Yeah,
and
he did. He had home reels, like the old video camera, and it's,
That's neat.
yeah, heck yeah.
Okay, I think you're on to see you're expanding even more than I thought.
Like a balloon.
And Pablo could just be. He might have some more to offer on those topics.
Pablo, you better be coming on the
Pablo,
podcast.
come. Yeah. Hopefully he's watching.
Well, how's that going over there, Hannah?
Pretty
You
good.
got
We're at.
got the thing all ready there, whatever.
Yep.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on, Celeste.
Thanks, Casey.
Appreciate it, and this has been awesome.
Thank
I
you.
just can't believe how hungry I am right now.
I know. It's me too. Let's eat.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Maybe Pablo next week, maybe not. If we just don't have the podcast, you'll know it didn't happen. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Talkness Monster Podcast.